Good morning, Unity of Seattle. Hi. It's so good to be here. I'm Pamelagrace, for those who don't know. And every now and then I get the honor of speaking here and the joy of speaking here. And thank you all for coming out. I know it's the Sunday after Thanksgiving. There are people still in bed drinking coffee, reading the newspaper, and getting over turkey or tofu or something. So welcome. The title of my talk is Leaning into Love. And I'm going to pull the curtains back and let you know where that came from. So it's Thanksgiving. We've had Halloween. I love Halloween. I love giving the little kids candy. I know I shouldn't. I should give them something helpful, but I'm not their mama. I don't have to do it. Mamas and papas can feed them healthy stuff. I get to give them candy, and they're so cute. So I love Halloween, and then we start to slide into Thanksgiving, and my anxiety goes up every year since I've been back in Seattle. Prior to that, I lived elsewhere, and I was always a little depressed as, shall I come home for Christmas or come home for Thanksgiving? It could only be one. I might get too attached and want to move there. I don't want to move there. I want to live where I live. So before moving back, that was my struggle. So when I moved back, here I am. People say, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? Where are you going for Thanksgiving? And I'm here. I don't have to go anywhere. How nice. You know where I'm going with this, don't you? Some people do. Some people do. Some of you probably have a little happy Thanksgiving. Oh, yay. We get together with all the family. It's all good. And it is. But I have to prepare myself every year. I do, I admit it. So I've been looking at why it's an issue. And I won't go into all of that. I will spare you that. You may say thank you. So I just keep trying to make my way through Thanksgiving and kind of sidestep all of the issues. You know, this time of year brings up stuff for people. We're now not behind the curtain, now we're in front of the curtain. I'm telling you like what it is. It brings stuff up for people. Not everybody is like, oh, yay, I get to have dinner with my family. Some people are far away from their families. Some people would like to be far away from their families. People asked me when I said I was moving back to Seattle, you're going home? Why are you doing that? And I said, well, I have family there. And they said, yeah? I was like, oh, that's not the answer, huh? Well, that's why I came back. So some people are not having a good time, and I'm one of them that could not have a good time if I allowed it to be so. But I fight it tooth and nail. Now, I love the idea of it. I love Thanksgiving. I love the Christmas lights. I don't love that the spirit seems to have been commercialized out of it. And I love the spirit of Christmas. I love the spirit of the great Thanksgiving, not the specific one. You know the one I'm talking about, with the whomever came over and the Native Americans and then what happened after that. But then we wouldn't be here if something hadn't happened after that. But I like the idea of being thankful. I like the idea of continually being thankful, not having it be one day a year. I love Christmas. And we're New Thought, but I love the spirit and the hope and the joy and the lights. And when I was little, I loved the presents. I'm over that now, but I still love the spirit of Christmas. So I said, okay, so what is my problem? And I thought, well, it seems like the love is gone out of it. And then I said, well, no, it hasn't. It's right there. So now what's the problem? Well, the problem is, oh, maybe I'm not seeing the love. Now, I have a story. Do you want to hear a story? Good answer. So I was working for this large company, and I had this colleague, and she was this delightful, we were trainers, corporate trainers, and she was delightful, and she was just all that, and she could plan workshops down to the nth degree, and she fell in love with this guy, and she did all this stuff for him, and had parties for him, and invited her friends over to meet him, and she just adored him, and he just wasn't that into her. And he dropped her, and she cried. And she cried. She cried for days. She cried for weeks. She cried at home. She cried at the office. Our manager said, well, we're not going to give Betty Ann those workshops because for right now, she just needs to be. And I'm like, and then one day I walked into Betty Ann's office. It was the week of her birthday. And on her desk, there were like 30 cards saying, happy birthday, Betty Ann, from all of her friends. Now, on a good day, I might have 5. On a very, very good day, 5. Actually, usually I had one from Auntie Clara, who never forgot my birthday. I did not have 30 friends putting birthday cards on my desk or sending them to work to me. But she did. And I said to her, you are spending all this time crying about some patootie. There's a word before that, but I won't say it. Who dropped you when you've got all these people who love you. And they did, they really did. She was very popular. And I thought, if I had all those friends, I truly would not be crying over some patootie over there in South San Francisco who doesn't recognize my absolute value. And see, that's what we do. We're looking for love in all the wrong faces, someone said to me. Said, I used to look for love in all the wrong faces, and now when I look in the mirror, that's the love I see. And since we're metaphysicians, and for me, metaphysicians, don't look it up on the phone because it has a whole other meaning. But for me, metaphysicians mean we're above the physical. We see beyond what's in front of us. We see the potentiality, the possibilities, and we also see the truth that regardless of what we see out there, God is in the house. Spirit is afoot. It is, in fact, all good, even though it isn't looking so good sometimes. It's all good. Somewhere beyond our ken, our knowing, it's all good. And so this season can sometimes make us question the good. And it's then that we need to lean into the good, lean into the knowing that there's a power beyond us. I think that that's what makes believing in a bigger power an experience that keeps us going, keeps us alive, keeps us engaged, keeps us illuminated, enthused, creative. I have to tell you, one little divergency. I'm working at Seattle Children's Theater. You know, I'm a contractor consultant, so I have lots of assignments. Right now, I'm at Seattle Children's Theater. And I just love it because it's a whole house full of creatives. Like, this is a whole house full of New Thought metaphysicians. And I just love it. I get to be around creativity 2 days a week, because I'm only part-time. And all these creative people, it's wonderful. Now, here's the cool thing about that. Imagine being around creative people who appreciate the creativity, the uniqueness, the value, the beauty, the intelligence, the skill of you. Now, of course, you actually are in there in this room, with all of these folks. It's here. But imagine being in that. I liken it to, I heard a song once about my pictures on God's refrigerator. Has anyone heard that song? Nobody's heard that song? It is the cutest song. Somebody locally, I believe, wrote it. The cutest song ever. And it's a he that sings it. And he talks about how he goes up there, and there it is, his picture on God's refrigerator. And I never let go of that image. I love it. Like this huge refrigerator. And then you walk up and you're looking, and there you are. You not only are there, you stand out. That's how special you are. You stand out on God's refrigerator. I love it. I don't know why. I guess it's because my mother puts stuff on the refrigerator, so it connects. But there we are on God's refrigerator. My special person. Right there, says God. That's how special we are, and we forget it. I was in my first New Thought class, Science of Mind. Some of you know I'm from Science of Mind. And the teacher gave us an assignment. We met once a week. And so we were to go home, and every night we were to make a list of people that we were to forgive. And then we would say, I forgive you, 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 every night. A new list or the same list. So when I came back to class, I said, well, I feel like I've forgiven a lot of people, but I still don't feel any lighter. And the teacher said, were you on the list? I wasn't. I was not on the list. It never dawned on me to put me on the list. And when I did that, it made a major difference. Now, what does that have to do with leaning into love? We keep trying to get love, find love, understand love. We even try to give love, all out there, but how much of it are we giving to ourselves? Now, I know that there are people who say you can't love yourself, that's self-aggrandizing and selfish and self-centered. We got a whole lot of negative things that go with self. But it's like when you're on the airplane and they say put the oxygen mask on before you try to put it on your child or someone who needs it, because you'll pass out and you won't be any help at all. I mean, how many of you have tried to love someone who has a bottomless pit because of stuff and things that happen to them in their lives? It's really difficult to fill that pit up. I have not been successful. And that's because wherever I was sending that, they couldn't love themselves. Now, I am a firm believer that love heals. I am. And so sometimes with those places where it was a bottomless pit, I had to love from afar. Because I couldn't fix it. But I could love, I just had to take myself out of the equation. So if we're not loving ourselves, it makes it a little difficult, not always for others to love us, but for us to believe they love us. Because we don't believe we're lovable. How can you believe somebody loves you if you don't believe you're lovable? I mean, really, just do the numbers on that one. Yeah. So just like that forgiveness exercise where I had to be on the list, also, for the love, we have to be on the list. And so leaning into love, I think I mentioned that a lot of times we're not feeling it because we're seeking it, we're going after it, we're grabbing at it, and it isn't it. And yet, like, what was it, a quote from the Ancient Mariner, water, water everywhere and not a drop to drink. Love, love everywhere, and we're not feeling it. We're not seeing it. Because it doesn't look like what we thought, or it doesn't feel like what we thought. How many of you know that people love differently? Has anybody read that 5 Gifts of Love? That was an awakening. Some people love by giving gifts. I love by cooking. I do. I love to cook, and so I'll cook. Some people love by saying, now don't forget to wear your raincoat and take an umbrella. Some people say, I love you, drive safely. Oh, they didn't say the I love you part, did they? They just said, drive safely, travel safely. But that's all, I love you. And sometimes we can't interpret it. So that means, my friends, that we have to just pay more attention. Okay, I expect love to look like this, but this is what's coming at me. Maybe that's their way of saying, I love you, in the way that they love. Because not only does it not look the same, sometimes it just isn't the same as what we want, but it's still love. Does any of that make any sense? Did that make some sense? A little bit? Okay. Well, you just have to work with that one in your own life. You're welcome. So, one last story. At Thanksgiving, one of my favorite cousins told me that she felt so alone, some difficulties had happened. And she felt so alone, she just felt she was completely alone, and nobody loved her. Now, in the room were 2 people who were saying to her, we don't love you, we don't love you, we don't love you. We don't even like you. There were 2 people in that room who were saying that. They were directly related to her, and they were mad. And they wouldn't tell her why they were mad. She should know. Don't you love people like that? How in the heck are you going to know? If you don't know, you don't know. Anyway, so she felt the whole world didn't love her because these 2 were having a moment. Again. And I said, well, Pumpkin, when I heard that some things had gone wonky for you, I sent you a text. And I said, sweetie, how you doing? You need somebody to talk to. Is there anything I can do? And I said, and sweetie, you sent me a text back saying, I don't want to talk about it right now. I was like, okay. So I sent you another text. I said, so how's it going? Fine, end of text. I said, okay, so honey, how am I supposed to love you if you won't let me in? And you know, that's what we do. We go into those little places, probably, maybe only a few of us do, and the rest of you are all right. Maybe. But we go into these little places where nobody loves me, everybody hates me. I'm going to eat some worms. Long, slim, slimy ones, short, fat, juicy ones. Okay, I'll stop. It's a camp song. But we go places where we're all defended, we're all boarded up. And by the way, we have some cool ways of being defensive and keeping people at bay. You know what I'm talking about. It isn't just ignoring my text. Sometimes it's saying, it's all good, when it's not. Or saying, no, I can handle it, when you're not doing that very well. Or no, I don't need anybody, when we all do. All of us. My mother used to tell me continually, no man is an island, when I was a kid. I don't know what I looked like to her, but she was right. No man is an island. Nobody is an island. Nobody can survive all by themselves. So if we're busy pushing love away, and yet it's all around us, that's on us. to make that change. And it's also on us to say, well, love does look differently, depending on who's putting the love out there. It could be, I'll help you. It could be, I won't help you. I'm going to let you help yourself. It could be, I have this for you. Or I have nothing for you but my heart. Or it could be, I like to be of service. I can do this for you. Or it could be, I can buy this for you. Or it can be, I can just stand with you or pray for you. So during this season of light, we've made it past Thanksgiving. We just have Christmas. Oh, and a little New Year's. So that gives you all this opportunity to look at love differently. To just make an assumption that it is wherever you're looking. I guarantee you, if you make that assumption that love is wherever you look, love is what you'll see. Love is what you'll get. And it'll show up in the ways it shows up. Because remember, I told you, not everybody does it the same way. But here's the metaphysical part of it. It'll start to show up the way you want it to. Because something afoot beyond our mere selves is at work. And so when we put it all out there, well, what do you think? It all comes back. Pressed down and spilling over. So for this season, your assignment is to lean into love, knowing you have all the love you need right here and now to be happy. So let's pray. Knowing that right where we are, Spirit is. Spirit is in the mix of it. Spirit is the creator of it. Spirit is the curator of it. Spirit is all that there is. And so I know that for each of us in this room and beyond, that good is afoot. I declare that this season of light and love is good and very good for all who seek it, who want it, and who are willing to open themselves to love. I declare that to be so for them. And so I'm knowing that there is love in this room. There is enough love in this room to shift the world. There is enough love in this room to lift the world. There is enough love in this room to touch every heart in this room and beyond. And so I affirm for this season, a loving season, a season of light, a season of lightfulness and joy. And that wherever we go, love is. Wherever we go, joy is. Wherever we go, light is. And so I know this to be the truth for myself and for all in this room and beyond, because again, I know that God is in the house and in me and in each person. Each soul is that of spirit showing up in form and function. And so we are the light. We are the love. And I know this to be the truth. And so I say, Ashe, Amen, and so it is. And thank you.